today. Um,
You're welcome.
so that kind of sets up, really interesting enough, we didn't even know this, but it sets up kind of just a moment that I wanted to have with all of you here about just a kind of an announcement and kind of talk some things through with all of you. You know, back in March, when we were faced with COVID, folks, if you remember, that's when we started these calls, right? We decided we all needed to get together. We needed to talk about what our world looked like. We wanted to have an update. We were always on total full transparency on where we were financially. If you remember back then, we were also really blessed that we had such amazing response from the community with COVID. We also were able, thanks to Jerry and his team, secure what's called the Triple P funding, which was funding that allowed us to keep everybody staffed and the agency moving forward. For those of you that don't know about Triple P, the Triple P funding actually ended in August of this year. And so you can imagine that the ELT team, your executive leadership team, we have spent a great deal of time in the last couple of weeks just kind of talking about the budget, planning a careful execution of what we think could be a really uncertain time of our community and our world from an economic standpoint. You know, we're trying to brace for what we believe could be forecasted as a really, really difficult year. And even though, guys, we ended last budget on a really high note, I just want to let you guys know that we are really concerned about this upcoming year. This is not something, I'm not going to pretend, I've never pretended with any of you guys. So we are taking a step back as an executive leadership team along with the board, really looking at a few things. One of the most important things that we're looking at right now is preparing for what could be. You know, I was reading an interesting article the other day from the Stanford Review that said an agency that will have a plan B in their back pocket, should the whole bottom fall out, will be the agency that will survive. And so we are working very hard on that plan B. Okay, this is not to scare anybody. This is just being totally transparent on where we are. So I am going to make a promise that twice a month I will continue to update you guys how we are financially. And what would that mean? Number one, I'm going to always tell you about where we are with year-end fundraising. As we all know, 52% of our 52% of our budget comes in because of fundraising. So you wonder why Annie and that team is so critical. You wonder why when I ask you for stories, it's so important. Is because that allows us to bring 52% of a $12 million budget comes in from private funding. That's a big chunk of money. We're also going to keep you updated on the social enterprise goals. Why is that? Social enterprise is another revenue producing stream for us, and it's also a training program. So they play a really important role in our organization. So we're going to keep you updated on that. And then the third one is we're going to keep you guys appraised of what's happening with grants and the importance of pulling down funding. And I'm going to talk about that in just a moment. But those are the three things we're going to report out on twice a month to all of you. Really want folks to ask questions so that we can make sure you know at all times where we are financially within the organization. As I said, I don't want anyone to get alarmed on this. What I really want people to do is to step back and say, okay, what can I do as a TLP family member? And that's really what this moment is for all of us. So I kind of thought that through a little bit. The team thought it through. And we know that these are really, really tough times for so many of you. Everybody has a story. I know that right now. I know many of your stories. This has not been easy times for all of us. And if there's ever been a time that we need to come together and we need to be the best we can be, it's going to be right now. And so here's a couple important things that I'm going to challenge and ask you guys to do moving forward. We need to stay focused on the jobs at hand. Got to stay focused on your job. The chewing, the whining, all of that is getting us nowhere, folks. It's getting us nowhere. We need to be grateful that we are all still working. I got to say that again. We have to be grateful that we are all still working. Whatever that capacity is, we are working. Second thing, you need to let your supervisor know what you're working on. And the supervisors here, you need to ask your team what you're working on. Why? Because I'm here to tell you accountability is the next important step moving forward. You know, we've We right now have to be accountable to one another. If work's not getting done, we need to know that. So we all have to hold each other up and be accountable to each other and to the clients that we serve. So accountability is going to be really important. Supervisors need to check with their staff on what they need, and the staff needs to be open with the supervisor on the challenges that they're struggling with. We want to always talk about ways that we can engage with our clients. Let me say that again. The whole reason that we are here is because of our clients. And when I'm hearing that we are not having as many engagements with our clients in this agency, that's very concerning to me. That means that position's not needed. Let me rephrase that. That means that position's not needed. Your whole purpose, our purpose, is to be spending time with our clients in whatever capacity that is. So if we can't figure out how to engage, we need to come together with ideas. As Toby so eloquently said, I love this, he said, we need to come together with ideas with your team about ways to fulfill our mission in this new environment. If this environment is so different, then we need to come together and figure out how to do it. We need to always think outside the box. Jimmy knows this. I've been talking to Jimmy about it. I mean, if there's ever been a time that we can be innovative, folks, this is the time. Step back with your team. Throw the freaking spaghetti up on the wall. See what sticks. But not throwing the spaghetti and not doing anything is not going to be the answer moving forward. We have to be innovative. We know that our world's going to look different come January. We know our world looks different now. And if you think we're going to be delivering the same services we delivered a year ago today, you're badly mistaken. We're not. So please bring out those creative juices. Supervisors, encourage your people to think differently. The Lord's Place has always been on the cutting edge. We've always been the agency that says we want to do something different. I look back at Val Stanley. I mean, we came up with ideas that people thought we were crazy back then. We now have the opportunity to almost have a blank canvas moving forward. So let's paint a new tomorrow for the Lord's Place on that canvas. Guys, I have to say this, you gotta fulfill the grant requirements. Let me explain how that works. For those of you that does not understand how that works, we have a grant. So you have 51% comes in from funding. You've got 49%, a little bit less because you got social enterprise in there. But let's just say for conversation, 40% of our money comes in from grants. What that means, I'm going to pick on somebody here. Pick on someone I love. I'm going to pick on Jan because it's really not Jan. So Jan is a case manager. She is required, according to our contract, to have 10 engagements a month with our clients. If she doesn't do that, guess what happens? We don't get paid. But guess what we've always done at the Lord's Place? We still pay Jan. We can't continue to do that. You gotta pull down the money for the grants. And if you don't understand what that means, you need to go to your supervisors. And supervisors, I'm telling you, Jimmy had a presentation the other day about numbers, and I thought a lot about that afterwards, and it kind of made me sad. And then I realized, in essence, the numbers are what helps us pay for our bills, that helps us pay for our salaries, and gives us the financial security we need. If you're struggling with what that means from pulling down the money, there's enough people here that can walk you through that, including Georgiana Devine, right? Which then brings me to the second piece. That contract says that you have to put case notes in, and I get any more reports that there are not case notes in, and they are 2 to 3 months behind, you're not a TLP person. I cannot stress that enough. We don't have time, folks. We just don't have time. And we don't have the ability any longer to just accept mediocrity. It's just not who we are. Okay, so if you're struggling with that, George, I'm gonna volunteer you pick up the phone and call George. But when I'm getting reports where there are 15, 20 missing pieces in a document or in a file, it's not acceptable, folks. Not okay. So let's clean that up. Let's make a commitment to each other and to the clients that we serve that we're going to get that cleaned up. And most of all, as I always say, I want us to be supportive of one another and to be kind to each other. That's our ultimate goal. We always have to be kind to one another because that's what we do as an agency. That's part of our mission. So, a couple other things that we're doing on our end. In the next few weeks, your supervisors, people are knowing that we are really looking very closely at this budget. And we're really trying to, stretch our resources. Jerry is, if you have never worked with Jerry closely, I will tell you that he's keeping us on pars, reminding us that we only have X amount of money, so you can't have to spend this much. You only spend this much. So we are asking people to look at their current budget, supervisors to look, is there anything that we can just put away for a while that we don't need right now because our landscape has changed. I got to do a shout out to Kelvin. I mean, Kelvin immediately came up with 2 or 3 ideas saying, when we put in the budget 6 months ago, we don't need it right now. So let's take it out of the budget. So that's some of the exercises that we're doing right now, the executive leadership team, really looking to see how we can cut costs as best as we can. So you're going to continue to hear about that moving forward. We are needing to continue to prosper our businesses to keep this moving forward. And one of the interesting things that we came up with, an idea that we came up with, was reassigning staff based on how all the climate is changing. We thought, you know what? It's not what it was 6 months ago. So how do we reassign staff? We've got this talented pool of people that maybe because that particular portion of our world isn't as busy, but this portion is, how do we help each other during this time? So 2 reassignments happened this week, and I have to do a shout out to both of them who were, I makes me even want to cry thinking about it, who were such TLP family members that they were willing to take this on, not what they were hired to do, but to do this for us. And one is Tim Reagan. Tim, we all know, Director of Corporate, there's nothing going on in the corporate world. People aren't even working. There's no corporate relations. And we knew that Jimmy needed help in his job training and employment. For those of you that don't know Tim, his background is in that. So he is now joining Jimmy's team. He's going to be one of the job coaches over there, helping people, working with clients, bringing his skill set to that. So we're grateful for Tim to doing that for us. And the other one is a big shout out to Diane Lieberman. I mean, Diane, who is just a TLP person through and through. We have poor Jennifer and her team have been just struggling with prevention in all ways. And we sat back, I wish some of you could hear the behind the scene conversation. And we said, who's got the heart and the empathy that could help process applications so that people keep their housing? And the first person that came to the forefront was Diane. So Diane has agreed to help in the prevention world. We don't know, guys, if this is long-term, short-term, it doesn't matter. What matters is that both Diane and Tim are committed to the mission of the Lord's Place, and for that, we are forever grateful. So thank you, guys. We are going to continue to look at other positions so that we can reassign people if need be. Our ultimate goal, and I'll say this to you, is to preserve as many jobs as possible. That is our commitment to you. We will do everything that we can to make that happen. There may be times we can't, but let me tell you, folks, this team's working really hard to make that happen, okay? So the last comment is, I am absolutely certain that we are gonna get through all this. I am certain that this is not an easy time, but if there's ever a group of people that I want walking this journey with us, it is this group here. So let's continue to link arms, let's be creative, let's move forward, and let's know that we're here because we've got a mission to care for the poor and the homeless, okay? Are there any questions, any comments, anything you want to share with me in any of those remarks?
Hey, Donna, can I say something?
Yes, please do.
I just first want to say thank you for being transparent with me and the agency in regards to what's going on during these difficult times. I just want to say, I'm just thinking of back the 10 years that I've been here and how loyal and grateful the agency has been to me. It's put my daughter through college. It's put me places that I've never thought I would be. And I would hope and pray that when you say TLP, and a lot of people don't understand when we say TLP person, that means an individual that's on our team that understands the mission of the Lord's Place. We're not here for the money, but we're here to take care and save lives. And so what I'm hoping, the 140 employees that we have here, that we think back the last 10 years that we've had it so good here. The board members giving us bonuses, the holidays where we've always gotten something monetary or gift from the agency. And I think during this difficult time, not only for the Lord's Place, for any other agency that are laying people off right now, we're working extremely hard to make sure everyone keeps a job and have a job. So I hope that each employee now look back and say, what can we do for the Lord's Place? How loyal are we to our clients and the agency? Because I'm going to tell you, I'm in 100%. Where the agency goes, no matter where it goes, I am in 100% to make sure that we continue to be great. I say this because I know the Lord's Place is head and feet above any other agency in Palm Beach County. I've worked for some agencies. We have never received the things that we receive here at TLP. So right now we need to come together as a team, be a team, and support each other during difficult times. If there's something where you're slacking at or you don't understand, go to someone. It doesn't mean that you're weak, doesn't mean that you don't understand your job. We are working together. One mission, one agency. So I just want to let you know that I am in 100%. I hope that the other 139 employees are also in 100% too. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelvin. Thank you. Thanks, Kelvin.
Diana, can I say something?
Absolutely, Tim, please.
So I don't know how many of you know this. I was a stay-at-home dad for 17 years. And so it was in my mid-40s. Didn't know what I wanted to do. And I struggled for many years trying to find a place. And I found one here. I left once and realized rather quickly that it wasn't meant to be. But this is home. And I wasn't going to leave home again. Whatever needs to be done, I'll do. And I didn't know this was going to happen, but I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow either. Just live for today and do what's needed to be done today. So I'm just happy to be here and happy to work with all of you and call you family. Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks, Tim. Thank you for that. Any other thoughts, Diane?
Yeah. One of Jim's sayings that he played this morning was that you have to meet a lot of people to know who the people are that you want to be with. I think it was something like that. And that's what the Lord's Place is for me. So I'm grateful. I'm tearing up. So
I know, we all are.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
The opportunity and to learn another aspect of the company and the agency. Appreciate it.
Thank you. It's going to be great there. Just great. Any other last thoughts as we all tearing up here? Not an easy time in our world, but together I think we get to move forward.
Winfred wanted to share something.
Christina?
I said, I think Winfred was raising his hand.
Oh, I can't see, Chris. I can't see. Winfred, just speak, people. I can't
Yes,
see.
ma'am. Yeah, Ms. Diana, I'm like Tim. I was a stay-at-home dad for a while myself, and I came in 2010 and left in 2013, I think it was. And I was embraced. I was loved. I was appreciated. I was given the ability to fly in a place that I call. And I'm thinking about that song that we sang at, I think it was reference, Just Know You're Not Alone, because we're going to make this place your home. So this place has always been my home. The first time around, the second time around, and whatever I can do to make things better, to make the agency better, to make our teams better, I'm willing to do whatever. I'm all in. I'm all in. And I thoroughly appreciate everyone, all 140 employees. And as I told you, Ms. Diana, I love you and I appreciate you for your motherly love and all of you. And I'm grateful, eternally grateful for this agency. There's no agency on the face of this earth. I don't care where you've been, where you've gone, no agency on the face of this earth like the Lord's Place.
Thank you. We love you too, Winfred.